Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I don't think I have to go too deep into the weeds for y'all to understand what this is about. This is about school zone speed cameras. There is not a body in this building that understands this issue better than the Georgia State Senate. Some of you were here for the subcommittee meetings. Some of you heard about the subcommittee meetings, and we have discussed it in the offices and in the hallways. We had two subcommittee meetings, one starting at 7 a.m. where we spent over 2 hours talking about this, and another one that started at 6 a.m. where we spent just a little longer than 3 hours discussing these issues. There were two speed camera bills that came over from the House at the same time, and we looked at both of them, and we took hours and hours and hours of testimony from everyone involved. HB 651 adds requirements and guardrails onto the current program. It requires multiple warning signs, cameras, and other technology to let the individual that lives in that community who possibly knows there's a school there or who should know there's a school there, that there is a school there, and what the speed is in that school zone and how fast they are traveling through that school zone. There's also language in there that talks about any misuse or abuse of these devices will be investigated by the Department of Public Safety, who currently investigates the use and misuse of radar used by law enforcement officers. There is information in the bill that deals with the rebuttable presumption for law enforcement's use of speed detection devices. There's administrative hearings and judicial appeals language involved in the bill. And there's multiple layers of checks and balances in the bill. And there is language in the bill that discusses the distribution of the civil monetary penalties. My favorite part of the bill, if anybody asks me, and I will tell you this, I have received, since I've been up here, during this session, I have received approximately 5 phone calls and or text messages about school zone cameras. 5. I've received many, many more about many other things that seem to be, to my constituents and others, less important than this issue. The part that I love about this is because of those emails and phone calls, because of the reason those of us in this chamber choose not to serve in local politics, is this is a local issue. If Fulton County, Muskogee County, or any other county in the state of Georgia wants these cameras in their community, around their schools, then that should be something that the elected city council members, county commission members, or others work out with the citizens in their community. Both sides of the aisle, we're always talking about local, until something we don't like. And the only part of this process that I did not like was when an individual would come up and their motive for not liking these devices was the fact that they had gotten a citation. Elected and unelected witnesses. Well, I'm here to confess that in the Robertson home, there have been 2 of these citations. My wife and I, we drug out the whiteboard, we got out the markers, we figured out the process, we did all this planning and everything, and we did something really unorthodox. We paid the tickets. Because apparently one of us went through a school zone too fast, which currently you have to be going over 10 miles an hour. This is what this bill does. HB 651. And with that, Mr. President, I'll yield for any questions.
You do have a couple questions. Recognize the Senator from the 53rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the whip yield.
I do yield.
Okay, help me understand who can put up these traffic cameras now, and how does that change in your legislation?
Who can put them up now is some schools can, county governments, city governments, and depending on how the contract's written, I've seen a couple of contracts that were signed by sheriffs as opposed by the CEO of the county or the CEO, i.e. mayor of the municipality. What ours does is it puts the contractual obligation back on the city and the county to be able to do these. Municipalities are the primary, I guess you would say, the primary negotiators within the contract.
So are we taking the school board out of the negotiation? Like, because now they currently have to apply for it, isn't that correct?
They can. And the reason we're doing that is because the school does not own the right-of-way where the equipment goes on, because the equipment has to be permitted by the Georgia Department of Transportation as safe equipment, because we wouldn't want just any city or county to do a contract that would require the implantation of foreign devices on the side of the highways, because I think the senator would agree with me, especially around schools with young drivers, we need to make sure that the sides of the roads are as safe as possible. And the roads in front of schools are not the property of the school district either. So their interest into the actual property and the investment into the equipment, what was determined in the multiple conversations where they were really not that much of an interest party other than the safety that comes with it.
Well, Senator, further yield.
I do.
So in your legislation, a sheriff's department or municipality, they could put these cameras up without a solicitation from the school board, right?
Right. Most of these are done post traffic studies, and I think we had 3 different companies that said they do not put the equipment up until there's a traffic study to show that there is an issue with the speeding. And I go back to the point where currently it's my understanding that everybody that testified was that no citation is written until the person hits 11 miles an hour over the posted speed in front of the school.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator.
You have no further questions, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask everyone to support HB 651, and let's send this back from whence it came. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.